What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're joined by Mr. Bill. We're going to do a follow-up on the unboxing that we did for the Focal speakers about a month back.
Yep.
But recently we did get into these guys, the Bowers and Wilkins 705 Signature Series. I know it's not a fair comparison, but that's what we got in stock right now for review. So we're going to compare the Focals, the number ones, against the 705 Signature Series. We did play a few songs. We played like 4 or 5 different tracks, among some other things, some pop music, stuff like that that I like.
Nice mix of stuff.
Yeah, so a pretty good, nice, eclectic mix. First track we tried that Home from Dominique Fils-Aimé. Sympathy.
Sympathy for the Devil from the Rolling Stones.
Lenny Kravitz. And don't judge us. We put in some Jamie Foxx, Unpredictable. Just
some bass.
Yeah, something with a lot of pretty good bass. But what are your thoughts? The first thing that we tried out were the 705s. Yeah. Just so you know what we were powering them with, we used integrated amplifier, the Cambridge Integrated A, which is it's kind of like a Class A/AB amplifier. Very warm amplifier. We'll do another review on that, probably another week or so. But we use that as our reference integrated, along with Rune using Tidal and Qobuz. So shout out to Tidal and Qobuz for letting us use your service. But the first speakers that we tried out were the 705s, the Bowers and Wilkins.
And signatures.
Impressions?
I'm a big fan of the Bowers and Wilkins speakers. Those Signature series sounded great. They're very, very detailed. Great highs, like just great frequency response all the way around. They have a really nice soundstage, and again with that decoupled tweeter, they have really, really nice, crisp, high-end response, as well as giving you a much wider soundstage than a lot of speakers that had that integrated.
And the tweeter is upgraded from the older 705s, the S2s. I believe the tweeter is a little bit more, some trickle down technology from the 800 series. So I found the tweeter, at least when we did the 803 review, wasn't a big fan of that tweeter. I want to say some of the same characteristics carry over to the 705s. I mean, I know why a lot of people like them though, because they are kind of a smooth sounding tweeter.
Right.
Maybe a little bit smoother or softer sounding than I would have liked, but still good though. Definitely non-fatiguing. So we were listening for a couple hours here, and we were just cranking it, and very smooth, nice smooth response. We listened to Home first.
Now, just in terms of that speaker, it did sound really, really, really nice. You have again the details, so every note struck, every chord change, especially with that particular song. There's a lot of layering in terms of echo and things like that. This came in really nice and clear. Not a lot of lower end as in terms of it's a smaller speaker. It is a ported cabinet, but it's not going to give you a big expansive bottom end. Nice mid, great highs. I think you definitely want to pair that with a sub.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a smaller enclosure. It's like what is it, like a 6.5 inch mid-range driver in there. But I thought like soundstage was pretty good.
Yeah. Pretty
wide soundstage. I think we thought it was kind of a minimal difference between the Focals and the 705s.
Yeah.
But as far as like separation and soundstage though, I'm gonna have to give the nod to the Focals, especially when it came to Sympathy for Destruction.
Sympathy for the Devil.
For the Devil. I'm thinking of Guns N' Roses. Especially when it came to like the Rolling Stones song. That song just starts off with like very distinct instruments in the left and right speakers, so very easily discernible between the two pairs. But so much more so I felt on the Focals, especially when it came to Mick singing on the Focals. Well, on the 705s, still really good, but I thought Mick was more dead center as far as like soundstaging and placement of Mick on the soundstage. Whereas on the Focals, I distinctly heard him more on the left side, which is what I heard on the Martin Logans, which I thought was very distinct on that one. So the Focals more closely matched what I liked so much about the Martin Logans. So definitely more distinction of not only just Mick as a singer, but Instruments, like I think there's a cowbell in there too.
There's a little cowbell. That's the great thing about this song. It has so much going on. You've got a washboard thing going on. You've got different types of percussion. You've got keyboards, guitars, bass, background singers, Mick. It just and then you've got cowboy coming in at different times. It's got a lot of stuff happening.
Yeah, I think the background singer is the woo woo part.
Yeah.
Which I think for me, I thought it felt definitely more center focused on the 705s, whereas on the Focals they were surely skewed more on the right side of the room.
Yeah, I found with the Focals, so there's a lot of keyboards throughout this whole song, and the keyboards on the Focals were much wider, much more like surrounding versus the 705s. The 705s, it sounded good. It was a nice wide soundstage, but it didn't give you the same sort of feeling of being there as the Focals did.
Yeah, for sure. There's less of a kind of a wraparound effect. It was still there. Don't get me wrong. Like it was still sounded really good. I'd be totally happy owning them.
Oh yeah.
But the Focal is definitely more of an immersive feel for the N1s. And I would say, I hate to keep going back to the Martin Logan ones though, to the 13As, but the Focals definitely sound a little bit more closer to that. And, like speaking of that wraparound effect, we threw in that Lenny Kravitz song.
It ain't over till it's over.
Yeah. Right when it starts up, you just automatically get kind of like bombarded with that 360-degree.
Yeah, you're in the studio.
Yeah.
It's coming from everywhere. Especially those, it's got some higher, like it has some higher keynotes, and like you can actually hear those stepping like out wider and up higher as well.
Yeah,
much visual.
I think that song also has a lot of sibilancy, a lot of S's when Lenny's singing. I think I kind of like the way that the 705 sounded. Like I was mentioning to you that I thought the Focals are a little bit more sibilant,
right?
A little bit more sharper,
especially with the hi-hat that's going on the whole time.
But I do like that. I like the way the sharper sounds. I mean, the tweeter sounds. It's a bit more sharper, more detailed on the Focals. But I could see where the attraction would be on the 705s because it is a bit softer up top there. So I think for maybe more of a prolonged listening, that possibly more forgiving on your ears, the 705s.
Yeah, and also again, what we if you were to pair these different speakers with different amplifiers, you can notice some difference there as well. But I think the Focals, because they're using that beryllium, that frequency response is through the roof. Yeah. So you're definitely going to hear, let's just say, much higher, fresher or like sparkling sound versus.
It's got the sparklies. That's,
I think you use that. I'm like, oh, I like that.
You got to use the audiophile terms. So,
so sparkly, clean, bright, very bright.
Yeah, airy, not bright where it's like.
No, not like gratingly bright. Like, I heard somebody once use the term like breaking glass. Yeah. Not like that. Not harsh.
Yeah, not at all. No, I like them. I like them. I'm not going to go back to the Martins again, but
he really likes the Martins.
I do like those. Those are my favorite speakers. But I would say like mid-range clarity, I thought definitely on par. They're on par with each other.
They were very similar in terms of that clarity and that detail.
Yeah, I do think the Martin Logan speakers kind of lack that a little bit. I do feel there was a bit more presence on the Focals and on the 705s. So kudos for that. But I do think there's a little bit more air with the Focals over the Bowers and Wilkins.
Yeah, and I mean, you would expect that just based on the size of the enclosures and the material, the beryllium versus the carbon fiber and continuum.
And I think as far as like bass, not that the 705 sucked at bass.
They didn't suck. They
didn't suck.
When we played that, it's really apparent when you played the Jamie Foxx song, the Unpredictable. Because there's some notes where it gets really low. Like if you had a sub going, it would rock the room.
Yeah, I think it's like below 30 hertz. I mean, you still get that.
You get more of a vibration than a sound.
So it kind of lingers a bit more when it hits those low tones. Those are still good. The 705 is still really good.
Like I said, if you pair those with a sub, you'd get a much more complete sound experience.
But more punch for the Focals though. So definitely absolutely. When the bass hits, punches a bit more. 705's not so much, still there, but not as prominent. I would still use a subwoofer for both of these guys, But if you're kind of tight for space, though, the Focals will give you a nice little taste.
I think I noticed it. So the most prominent as far as the bass goes, besides unpredictable, was the bass line, like just that upright bass in home.
Yeah.
While they both had all the notes in terms of the, like you could hear them striking the notes and everything, and you could hear the moving of the fretting hand. The Focal definitely had a much longer sustain on that note.
Yeah.
And then with Lenny Kravitz, It Ain't Over Till It's Over, because there's some really nice bass lines going on in that. Yeah. And I think like that, when he's doing that slide, that again was much more present on the Focal.
Yeah. I mean, just as a wrap up I thought there was definitely more instrumental separation for the Focals, like especially with the Rolling Stone song. I really heard a really good distinction with the instruments, the singers, the backup singers, the cymbals. The cymbals had more crisp on the top end, a bit more rolled off on the Bowers. On the Bowers, I really felt like Soundstage was a little bit more compressed sounding. I mean, still good though. I mean, maybe I would have a hard time telling if I didn't have the Focals here, or if I wasn't used to hearing other speakers. But I did hear a wider Soundstage, more air on the Focals, and just better separation in general.
Yeah, we listened to each song more than once on each pair of speakers just to make sure that, what we were hearing. And I had the same sort of thing. I really like the detail on like I said many times, the 705s has great detail, but they didn't have the same sound staging.
Right. So, do you think it's worth the extra? What is it, like $6,000?
$6,000, because the 705s are $4,000.
$4,000.
And those are, the Sopra ones are $10,000.
$10,000 for the pair, yeah.
If money wasn't an issue, yeah, the $10,000 speakers I think would definitely, I think, I really like that sound staging, but if I'm on a budget and I want the best possible speakers for the money, I would say, that you get a lot of value out of those 705s. Plus, you could take the difference and you could buy yourself a nice couple, either one really nice sub or a couple different nice subs. And you could also put it toward a receiver, or an amp rather.
Or you could buy 2 pairs of 705s.
There you go.
Of course, the speakers would sound differently with different amps or receivers. Yep. But we'll get into that maybe next week.
Next week. Got to compare those.
Yes.
We got a whole plethora of amps back here to select from. So
yes, we do. But all right, guys, those are our thoughts on the 705 Signature Series and the Focal N1s, number ones. What are your thoughts on the speakers? Do you think it's worth double the price for the Focals? Leave a comment down below and let us know. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you guys again in the next video.
Take care.